Hey there guys, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since my last episode. Apologies for that. With work and the Euros, my usual recording schedule's been a little bit disrupted. And also where we are in the game. Obviously last time out we secured that league title win. So obviously then you have a long pre-season. And with the sort of COVID impact in the game, the season doesn't start till like October. So we've got a billion friendlies booked in. But what we're going to do today, we're going to get into it, look at some of the initial transfers. There's lots of incomings, lots of outgoings as you'd expect in this level. And we'll crack on with the first friendly and sort of have a look at some of the new guys. Right guys, here we go. So as you can see, I mentioned a lot of friendlies. Obviously, I've not really done anything in that little bit of time that it takes for like the playoffs and stuff to finish. Obviously started looking out there for transfers and things like that. But because this season doesn't start till, as you can see here, look, 2nd of October, as normally as it's up in August, we've got just friendlies. Now, normally I like to play a lot of friendlies because I want to cram them in. I want to get as many games in with the new players as possible. But yeah, we've got a huge amount, so I'm not going to dwell on too many episodes with all of these. Come back maybe once or twice if something big happens. We've got a big game, but I just thought we'd come back, have a look at the initial transfers that we've made. As I mentioned, lots of outgoings, lots of incomings. Sorry, it's tough at this level. I talked about tactics as well. Now, as you can see, we're still in the same. We've made a couple of little tweaks, but we're still in the same. The reason being because there's so many players coming in that I wanted a tactical direction to sort of look at for when we're making transfers, and I can't just go on a blank canvas really, because I don't know who we're going to have in, what players we're going to have. So I thought we'd leave it as this for now. I've left the other two tactic slots open so we can try a few things in all these friendlies depending on the players we get in as we learn more about them. Obviously we knew our areas of strength last season and which players worked with which roles. So and this is a pretty I think open tactic. We can adapt most players to something else from here because it's almost a 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1. You know, it's very easily becomes a 4-2-3-1. So we can change it around as we go. But we'll start off with this. So we'll have a look at the staff. I don't think we've made too many moves here, but as you can see, now that everything's updated, Panorama National League North. Coaching still really good. The recruitment needs work, but we still need 2 scouts, so that'll shoot up once we get hold of that. This is a problem, and we need to solve that because we're just about the worst, almost the worst. So that's something that we need to press on with, but we can easily pick that up. Financially, we're doing okay, and that's because, as you saw, I think I put on Twitter, if you didn't see it, subject of a takeover. Now there was 2 rival sort of consortiums going for it, and apparently the one was promising the fans a new manager. So we were hoping that didn't happen. As we're still here, and you can guess it didn't. The other guy managed it. Let's find out what his name is. To be fair, Danny Cooper, I think it was, something like that. Yeah, Danny Cooper. So he came in. I thought, great, he's pumped some money in because we were about 80,000 in the red, something like that. And obviously now, as you can see, we're up to a positive, but that was by virtue of a bank loan. So now we've got that to pay back, which, you know, it's one of those things. It's nice that we're not, you know, in the red. So it means we've been able to get a much nicer wage budget. We're still only spending £1,840 and we've got 3,382. So there's plenty of wiggle room. We've had a huge amount of trials, as you can imagine, whilst we look at players. Frankly, it's quicker than scouting at this level when you've only got, you know, sort of the one or 2 scouts. So there's been a lot to look at. So into the transfers then, guys. Let's have a look. So they're all listed on this side, I think. Yeah, because it was before, you know, when all the leagues update. So where did we leave it? All of these are just sort of the youth players. John Rose was someone that was in and around the squad when we needed cover, but he was never going to really make it, so he's moved on. Brad Birch again never really got involved with the team, so he's off to Walthamstow. And Adeyemi, which I was a little bit sad about because he did a good job for us, but Westfield came in for him. It was end of contract. hadn't managed to agree a new one with him, so off he goes. And Colin Williams, just a newish. I think he's just one of the youth players. And I don't think there's anyone really here to mention. So I said there was a lot of players that went out. There isn't really, but there are quite a few, I think, that will leave at the end of their contracts, or they're on non-contracts at the minute, so they will eventually leave the club. Here for Inns, what don't you know about? So John Black, we've brought him in. As you can see, he's a bit of like an all-round midfielder, more of an attacking midfielder. He's not wonderful, but he's got good flair, good decision-making, good vision. So I think at 19, there's enough about him to have in there as a sort of creative midfielder. Been at Oxford and Aldershot, so he's just a youngster without much history, so a bit of a blank canvas for us. We have replaced what was his name? Sunby, goalkeeper. I think there's no mention from here. I think it's just his contract run out. Didn't want to agree a new one, so that was fine, because Strichovic, I think that's how you say it, is pretty much as good. Good reflexes, good decision making, etc. His concentration's a bit lacking, which is a bit of a worry. But again, he's only 22, so he'll do a job for us, I'm sure. Been around to a few clubs, I think, really of note where he's actually played. But happy with that. And then Wealth de Silva, who is Nigerian right winger, quick, good with the ball, good first touch, good dribbling. So we wanted someone as a bit of a ball carrier, someone that's going to run at people. It's off the ball is a bit of a worry. His vision's poor, but he's not going to be someone that is going to sort of get his foot on the ball, look up and create. I want him to almost head down, run at players. Again, happy with that one, just to get sort of a bit of pace and a bit of power into the squad. And I was really pleased with these two, both from Harrogate. I think their contracts were both expiring, obviously weren't going to get renewed. But Aaron Haswell, he can play on the left, it says, but he's a target man, so he's our sort of backup for now. And when we need another option, if we need to throw another centre forward on, or if we eventually go to up front. Nice and strong, decent heading, decent finishing, just a bit all round, just a solid sort of young centre forward that hopefully can just do a job when needed. And then Edson Prater, we signed at about the same time, again from Harrogate. Hopefully will solve some of the left-hand side problems, but he can obviously play just as well on the right as a winger. So nice and quick, good flair again. So again, his crossing is not brilliant, but I'm hoping that if we play him on the right-hand side, that pace and that trickery is going to get him into the box. And we can play him on the left as well as an inverted winger, which we've never had really the option to do. So he can cut inside then on his right-hand foot. 5'7", so he's a typical diminutive winger, and it's always nice to bring a bit of European flair into a team this sort of low down. So pleased with him as well. Lots of transfers bubbling along. That's probably why I thought there was more than there actually is on this list, because we've got a lot of offers out for various players. A lot of trials, loads of trials still in the club that I'm hoping to bring in. But we'll talk about that another time. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's gone so far. I mean, we're still really early days. It's only just switched over to the sort of the season's only just technically finished. Obviously, we had the big news with Cowley staying, so I'm pleased. I'm looking forward to the season. I think we've got a decent foundation of a squad. We've kept on to most of the players that we wanted to. I think. Mikey Taylor, Callum Ball, Sunby, their contracts weren't renewed. And to be fair, they were sort of, especially with Mikey Taylor, I think he wanted to leave anyway, but his stats were going down. The injury that he had hit him hard, and he was getting on a little bit. So, and the same with Callum Ball, he wasn't getting the game time, and he wasn't a spring chicken. So, haven't lost anyone that I'm really too sort of sad about. We've replaced most of them already. Problem areas, left back still a bit of a problem, but we've got a few trials that can cover that sort of position, and I think that's it. I'd like to strengthen at centre back as well. We are low there, but again, we've got some trials there that we're looking at, and some trials we've had previously that we're looking at as well. So there'll be a lot more transfers that come in over the season, especially with this schedule. There's going to be people coming and going, I imagine. As you can see, we've got a good mixture here as well. Some big ones: Bolton, Hereford, Hearts. Some nice local ones as well in Alfchurch and Droitwich and Solihull Moors. And I had to stick Woodthorpe Park in there as well, who, if you haven't seen the other series on the channel with Scott, is managing these guys, so they're lower down. So it'll be good to see how we get on there. Obviously, it's not going to be really fair because in the game they're just one of many amateur teams. So that's just for a bit of fun. Now, anyway, today we're going to get into the first friendly against Abingdon United. Couldn't really get too many money spinners here. They're all bringing in a sort of a few hundred, maybe a couple of thousand at best, which hopefully just staves off that ever drop in finance. Every little helps and all of that. So we're gonna crack on with this first friendly today, just to see how some of the new boys work together. It is largely a fairly sort of settled team for this level, to be fair. So we've got the new goalkeeper in. We do need another one. Iswele and Ward start on the right. Hayward at the left side of centre back, which is fairly indicative that we've still got a centre back problem. We've got plenty of trialists, but I prefer to play players that we've signed for this first one, just to see how it links up. I have got a trialist at left back because we just don't have one, but Harvey Sparks looks a decent prospect because he can play anywhere. So he's pretty much an all-round average, reasonably athletic because he's reasonably quick, his stamina's okay and all of that. But he can play anywhere, so he'd be a decent addition. So we're trying to bring him in. Jordan Brooks gets the nod. John Black, new player, I'd say more creative. Try him in there. Given the youngster Joel Kidd a start on the left, that's where I'd like to see him play. His preferred is here, which makes sense because he's not too quick. But I think if we're going to have this deeper sort of supporting winger role, that he can do a job there. But we'll see. I mean, it's good to have the versatility. Chris Lake and Cowley up front, leaving that just as it is. Don't see any reason to change that after how good they were last season. So I'm going to try and build the rest of this around this. Really, that's the best part of our last season. And I'm going to start Prata on the right hand side, just as the winger. As I say, we've not changed anything really. Just want to see how it goes, and we'll start to make changes as players come in. So let's get into it. Right then, here we go, guys. This will be the traditional first just kick-off highlight, I imagine. I'm not sure where Abingdon are, to be fair. I don't really know what to expect from this game, but then it's a first friendly, so it doesn't really matter. Just want a good performance and see if we can spot any changes or any successes with a couple of the new lads we've got playing. It's a bit of sustained pressure early on, though. Brooks with a little reverse into Prata. Is he onside? He was onside. It's a decent start. Lively, straight for the corner. That's something I need to look at, is the set pieces. Obviously, with so many players leaving, we're gonna have to redo those a little bit. So to be fair, that's a decent first minute. It's another highlight. I wonder if this is going to be one for them. No. A bit scrappy, but Late's picked it up. He's got Prata on his right if he wants him. He's cut in. Here's Cowley. Good save at the low down at the near post. Decent effort. To be fair, guys, we're doing all right here. Couple of corners, couple of decent attacks. Maybe we don't need a tactical overhaul. maybe that tactic. It's. I mean, all right. We had a few patches, but we won the league, so we can't really complain too much. But it would be nice to have another option, because the other tactical plans we sort of had didn't ever really help, didn't ever really work. So, but with the bigger, more varied, let me get straight into the wall. That was a bit pants, wasn't it? With the bigger varied squad and obviously better players, because we've got sort of twice the wage budget. It might give us a few more options. As Whaley gets it back from Kidd from the throw. Good little ball in, away to Brooks. Here's Prata. closed down and blocked, and now can Abingdon get on a break? Skinner's a bit isolated. There is space over there though. Luke Ward steps out really well, and he's set the counter attack. Is Cowley from range? Tried to bend it with the outside of the boot. Didn't quite get it right. I mean, it's been a really positive start though, guys. We've had attacks. We've had some sort of half chances. So yeah, reasonably pleased. Dangerous area here for Black. Straight to the wall again. This was a bit of a feature, wasn't it? Especially towards the end of the season where there was just block, 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 which I know is difficult because it does look like you can see from their tactics here. I don't know what I'm pointing. To see from the tactics here, it's 2 banks of 4. So they've set up that way to frustrate us, and I suppose it's just a case of having the patience to break them down. But what I have tried to do is a good ball. Go on, Prater. Oh, straight to the keeper. What I've tried to do, you've seen in a couple of players we've brought in, decent flair. I want a bit of flair, a bit of creativity, so we're not just sort of, I don't like this. Good save. Good first time the keeper's been worked. That's good. I don't want to just rely on the sort of pace and power and athleticism of people like Cowley and Leighton just lumping balls. When we have games like this and we're struggling to break down because there's too many men back, come on, Nath, pass the ball. All right. We need another option. That's a good flick. Just ran on a little bit too much for Leighton. It looked like he was going to nip in there. So yeah, I'm pleased. We've got a little bit more flair, and we might be able to sort of incorporate that into maybe a different tactic for when we're playing teams that are going to sit back against us. But saying that, we've just been promoted, so chances are we're not going to have too much of that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Good first half. Shame we haven't got on the score sheet. Very much a pre-season friendly, isn't it? And for this one, as I say, I've got lots of trials that I can try out, which it makes sense to use them. But I do want to see how the guys that we've signed perform. I want to try and get a template to bring in some of these trialists if they work. You know what? I'm going to leave it as it is for now. I'm going to leave it as it is because I want to see a little bit more of some of these. I don't want to just change it all at half time and it just be this disjointed trial game. I want to try and get an idea of a tactical system, if we're going to leave it like this or if we are going to make some changes so that we've got this big long pre-season where we've got time basically. I don't need to be making 10 changes at half time all the time for fitness and things like that. I want to get a stable idea and a foundation of the squad. Decent cross. Not a lot of room in there. Look, there's lots of players in and around their box on their front. John Black from deep into late. There's Prater with a thunderbolt from nowhere. Ball just ran to him and he's absolutely smashed it. He's not afraid, is he, to be involved? He's been involved a lot, to be fair. One of the more positive aspects of it. They've defended well, Abingdon. They've just frustrated us. And it is frustrating. So I think on the hour mark, as per tradition, let's make a couple of changes. So the interesting ones, I'm going to try and bring on some of the guys that I am trying to sign. I think we can get a little bit further forward here on this left side. We can bring De Silva on for Prater. That can be like for like. Let's bring on Haswell. Cowley's on a yellow card. I don't need anything silly happening there. Well, he's not a complete forward. We'll target man it. Let's get him a little bit more involved. We've got a little bit more of a direct runner from this left side as well now. And Tom Dean was the centre half that was most likely to come in of the current crop. So a few changes. So hopefully we can find a goal from somewhere, at least create something in the second half. Nothing's really much happened. Let's up it a little bit. It's a good test. We need to be able to break teams like this down. They've not had anything, so the defence has been fine. A couple of worrying performances there from the trialists. So again, it's getting the best out of them, figuring out what their best roles are in the system. Nothing is happening here, but I suppose it's expected with all the changes. And we'll make it worse with some more changes. I don't usually play too many. Don't usually. It's a new channel. I don't plan on playing too many pre-season friendlies on the stream. I just thought, just by way of getting us back in. That's a great little exchange. Overplaying a little bit there. Someone needed to just take the shot. It's good football though. It's the first little sort of bit of flair of the half, really. We can be a little bit more direct now. Let's get them shooting. It looks like it's just gonna peter out into a boring 0-0. Maybe we're back to the sort of first half of the season, last season here, with games on the channel being a little bit dull. That's their first really sort of ball towards the box, and it wasn't very good. But you watch them nick this now. Be so annoyed. No. Okay, 0-0. Rubbish. Not a rubbish performance. It's been okay. Very much pre-season. Bit of a shame, because I would have liked to. I think by the looks of it, we're by a distance the sort of better team. But we've not found the breakthrough. But it's nothing to worry about. We've got so many friendlies to play through. So much work to do tactically and with transfers. But I'm pretty positive about the players we've brought in so far. If we can deal with those sort of problem areas that niggled us all last season, really, left back, didn't have many options on the left side. So the whole left wing really was a bit of a problem, and we need to add some depth, possibly some quality if we can at centre back. But otherwise, we're looking in decent shape. So it's been a bit of a makeshift video, a lot of information, so hopefully you haven't been too bored by it. We'll leave it there. I'll crack on through pre-season, because I don't want to keep coming back for disjointed friendlies all the time. Maybe get an episode or two in for some of the big ones, and we'll see how we're getting on. Maybe I'll pop on some social media updates for decent transfers and bits and bobs of news like that, just to keep you guys updated. Because it does take a little while to play through these pre-seasons, especially with the amount of friendlies we've got. So I think that's it for today, guys. Won't sort of plod on too much longer with not too much more to report. Hopefully you enjoyed today's little update. Sorry the game wasn't particularly exciting, but we're getting used to that, aren't we? Like, subscribe, notification bell, social media things, all of that rubbish. If you're looking for a bit more content, I know that Scott's cracked on well with his save, and he's been right at the business end as well with Woodthorpe Park, so go and give those a watch. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Cheers.